Hey everybody, so this is a very, very crazy story. I have no idea how I'm even going to title this, to be honest. I may need some help, so, down in the comment section below, feel free to debate this, as well as giving me ideas on how to title this better. I might have to change it a couple of times. Like I said, this is a weird one, and I really wanted to get everyone's opinion on this because I'm really divided as to if this was self-defense or not. I really lean towards more of the self-defense, but this was a crazy guy, okay? That probably should never have been allowed to own a pew-pew, I guess is what we could call it. Or sidearm. I guess I could just say sidearm. That's fine, right? A man who was convicted for ramming a van through a Trump campaign table in Florida in 2020 is now accused of ending an elderly man in a wheelchair. This all sounds weird, right? Why would I ever defend anybody doing anything to somebody in a wheelchair, a defenseless man? Well, I'll show you the video, and I gotta really pay attention to the 9-second mark to make sure I do not accidentally show you guys this. But apparently these guys got into a confrontation. They both are reaching into their bags. Now you could see that the man in the wheelchair was reaching first. He reaches into his bag after. Now check it out. He pulls. Is it 9-second mark yet? 9. Okay. This next shot, next shot, I mean in the sense of like the next frame, he pulls this trigger. However, this dude pulled his. Now watch what this dude does before a shot is ever fired. There it is. See how it's pointed at him? Listen, I don't know if the man in the wheelchair was in the right or not for this. I don't know what took place before. But the fact that it's still in its holster, he pulls it out and then points it, seeing that this guy actually has this. Now, if he didn't see that the guy had this, that's even worse because he was planning on pulling it to intimidate him without even knowing that this guy had his defense out. His trigger doesn't pull until this is actually pointed at him. He has no clue, in my opinion, that this could function through the guard that he has on it, through the holster. Later, it turns out this was an airsoft weapon. Not even really considered a weapon, an airsoft toy, in my opinion. But how is he supposed to know that? It's a little crazy. So, next thing is, it fires. You could see the cloud of dust there. And he's gone. Pretty sure he's gone. He goes limp. I don't know for sure or not. Then, of course, people are running. The guy yells out that, like, it's okay or whatever. And then he yells this. Show me your ID. Why? Why? What? Show me your ID. What? So there's something crazy going on here. He has no right to even ask for an ID. What is he talking about? He's not a cop. But now he's going to start demanding from the guy there. Is he actually hurt? Is he actually awake or not? I don't know. There's a lot of details I really don't know about this situation. But this people here are like, how do you get a guy hit a guy in a wheelchair there, His voice is typical limp leftist, devoid of testosterone. It's all right, everybody, as though he saved them. Far left narcissist saving the world. Did it occur to him that he, got a black man? Nobody trying to stop them. Good job, Seattle. Just another psycho leftist. I know that they keep, blaming it on the leftist, and I understand the guy is a soy boy leftist for sure. But did he actually do the wrong thing? Well, I don't think he's allowed to own what he had used. So no matter what, self-defense or not, if that's the case, he's screwed. I really genuinely don't know. I couldn't imagine him being allowed to own a pew-pew at all. Gotta fix that camera just a little bit because my green screen started, and then now it's on that side too. There we go. Anyway, I can't imagine, him not getting some time. I couldn't imagine that they didn't give him a felony for ramming a van, through a Trump table. You know what I mean? I don't know. He does seem like he is a psycho. But in the situation as well, when somebody starts digging in their bag and they actually pull something that looks like something that's going to end my life, I tend to not care about the law as much because I'm trying to preserve my own life. So it's such a weird situation, right? At the end of the day, it's like, well, the most they may be able to actually charge him for is possession of a deadly weapon that he's not allowed to own. I don't know that he can actually be charged for the self-defense part. They're saying loser, capital punishment. I don't know. I wouldn't give him capital punishment. I think most people didn't see that the other man in the wheelchair pulled a firearm. I don't think they saw that. This guy says, I'm confused because the guy was pulling out a GUN. We can't. Yeah, exactly. And nobody's commenting on it. 21 people saw it, but they just ignored it. You know what I mean? That's kind of odd. FWIW? If you pull a knife or an airsoft, assuming it's one of those real-looking ones, on someone, well, that's a great way to, yeah, I don't care if you're disabled or not. That's kind of my take. You know what I'm saying? Whatever happened to Good Samaritans? Okay, well, that depends. You know, do you know what area you're in? Is that Seattle, right? There are no Good Samaritans that can get involved there. What are they going to do? Tackle the guy? You know what I mean? This is terrible. Fortunately, there weren't more victims, but even one is too many. Human life is so precious. May this man rest in peace if he has passed away. I don't know if he has or hasn't. That's what you call a cowardly leftist liberal lunatic. They will never attack or challenge some dude in Texas to a... Okay, well, was he supposed to challenge the guy in the wheelchair to a fist fight, though? I mean... I don't think that's any better. I really don't think it's any better. In fact, I think this is the best possible situation where one guy had one and the other guy had another. I think that's the ultimate equal force right there. If it was going to come down to a fist fight, there wouldn't have been equal force. He would have just beat the tar out of the guy in the wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that would have been better. Shockingly, I think them both having what they had on them was probably best case scenario, the most equal they could have been. Unfortunately, Cripple brought a toy to an actual situation. I was going to say, like, I'm trying to dance around words really carefully just because of YouTube's algorithms and stuff. It's really annoying, and I hate it. I really, really hate it, but I'm just trying to see how far I can go. As for all this, now, they're going to be watching, commenting more on this. You can see the full thing. I'm going to try and keep all that paused and sound down so I don't get an accidental discharge on the show. So, Florida is weak on crime also. I don't think so. It's just nobody was in the area, you know? Noah's in Jacksonville, which is a heavy blue city run by... Okay, well, there is that too. A jury acquitted him of the felony, but found him guilty of a lesser included misdemeanor. Okay. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? So, I could go ahead and I guess just search it up, but I thought it was so interesting to see. You know what I mean? Anti-Trump Seattle area. Oh, that's the different thing. Let me go ahead and go back to the video and see July 31st, Seattle. Okay. July 31st. Just throw in wheelchair in there. I'm sure it'll come up. Let's see. Video shows how, okay. Here we go. Let's make sure that that's paused. Okay, cool. Wow, that's much, no, that's not clear footage. Never mind. That would be.
Right now at 5, new video.
Nope. I didn't click that.
Just in, showing the moment.
Okay, they're actually going to show it on air. Wow, okay. Good for them, I guess. I guess they can do that. That's great. I'm sure YouTube actually wouldn't do anything about that if they uploaded it to YouTube as well. So, the prosecutors allege happened a fight over accusation of stolen valor. Wow. How did that happen? That's interesting. According to charges filed on August 5th, Gregory William Tim, 32, claimed the victim, a 68-year-old man in a wheelchair. No way that dude is 32. No way. I'm 33, like literally. No. That's where it's going to take place. Nope. Let me go ahead and fast forward so it can't happen again.
Claim it was
that dude just looks older. I don't know why. He looks literally like he's in his 50s. Like, listen to his voice. Okay,
$50,000 bail. Prosecutors say it doesn't.
Oh, this guy's just going to talk over it. I don't care then. But I don't know. It just does not seem to me like he was 32. That's wild. Before the victim could even do anything with it, the defendant pulled out... Okay, let's see what they say here. What the actual police say. The defendant approached the victim, who was in a wheelchair on the boardwalk near Starbucks, and he demanded the victim provide identification to prove his military status. Why? You know, that's really interesting. I wouldn't go around asking people for their IDs. If you're not an officer, it's really unacceptable to do so. Senior Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Elaine Lee wrote in charging documents, as the victim was taking out his wallet, the defendant removed a military patch from the victim's belongings. This caused the victim to arm himself with a... Wow, really? Okay. So he armed himself with an actual, like, stabby. Investigators said Tim continued to demand the victim's military ID, and the victim took out an airsoft. Okay, well, I don't think we can blame the lefty guy at all at that point, in my opinion. I really don't think you can put blame on him. Before the victim could even do anything with it, the defendant pulled out his pew-pew and pointed it at the victim and blasted him in the chest. Gotcha. Tim extends his right arm, takes a couple steps back, and fires one. Okay. Tim returned his sidearm to the bag and waited for police with his hands in the air above his head, according to charges. The video footage, which was provided to Como News there by the prosecutor's office via public disclosure request, appears to support the sequence of events. In the footage, shot from two different angles. I didn't see the other angle, but this is apparently the better angle anyway, according to Andy No, so I can trust that. Tim is seen demanding to see a military ID and moving around the victim in an agitated way. Moving around the victim in an agitated way? How did he do this? That's wild. Oh, wait a minute. Tim is the one demanding the military ID. Oh. Hold on a minute. So he is doing it. Interesting. Hold on. So the defendant approached the victim. The victim was in a wheelchair. Okay, when I read this, the defendant approached the victim who was in a wheelchair on boardwalk. I literally thought they were calling Tim the victim. You know, near Starbucks, but they're saying the victim who was in a wheelchair on... Okay, I misread that. Okay. The victim pulled... So the man in the wheelchair... Why? They really should say man in wheelchair and Tim. Or they could have given us the guy in the wheelchair's name too and just went by their names. That would have been so much better. Maybe in the future, guys, when you type an article, do that instead of like saying the victim and the perp or whatever, you know. This caused the victim to arm himself with a pokey. Okay. So then while he pulled out a pokey, investigators said Tim continued. Okay, so he took... Wait a minute, this is what's weird. Investigators said Tim continued to demand his ID, and the victim took out an airsoft from the holster. He never took out the airsoft from a holster. He took out the whole thing. You could clearly see that. So that's bad reporting. Before the victim could do anything with it, the defendant pulled out his own. So the thing about it is the guy in the wheelchair who is being harassed by the other guy, by Tim, the man in the wheelchair pulled out two weapons, okay? The other guy was completely off his gourd for asking for his ID. And then to blast him and then say, now show me your ID, like you've got power over him, that changes a lot. That changes a lot of the dynamics of what happened. But the other guy was also very much in the wrong. Pulling out two weapons there in broad daylight instead of just simply phoning police or getting help from around him. Like, the guy hadn't pulled anything yet. The guy hadn't been aggressive yet. He waited, the Tim guy here, waited for him to pull out, the wheelchair man, to pull out two weapons before he pulled out his own. It's such a murky situation where I think they're both at so much fault for all of this, you know? So anyway... Tim is seen with his hands on his head as police officers pat him down. Tim, the alleged guy who did everything, was arrested, as he should have been. During the initial court hearing, his defense attorney told the judge because the victim first pulled a knife, I'll just say knife, whatever, Tim would be claiming self-defense. The issue with that is that Tim could have walked away. There's no way this person with a knife could have reached him. And he was so far back. He waited for him to pull out a second weapon. And that's wild to me. That's absolutely wild that this escalated so bad. He saw that the man was armed and continued to escalate. I don't know that he can get away with this, you know? The last public update on the victim was that he was in serious but stable condition. Kelsey Wright, who works along the waterfront, says she sees the man who was blasted nearly every day. He's a regular here. He's usually playing music and bringing a good vibe to the waterfront. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell spoke to Como, whatever you want to call it, news about, okay, whatever. Why didn't they, like, actually identify that he had an ID or anything like that anyway, that it wasn't stolen valor? I have a feeling it might have actually been stolen valor at that point. You know what I mean? The aggressor started the fight. That's true. Assaulted the man in the wheelchair by ripping one of his patches, you know. The elderly man took out, yeah, I mean, the elderly man did feel like he was being, you know, attacked, and it's harder for him to get away. He should have just stayed out with the knife, though, in my opinion. Bringing out an airsoft, you never, ever, ever want to try and intimidate somebody with a long range anything. Because if it doesn't work as intended, you are screwed. Okay? First and foremost, if it's not a real firearm, do not pull it on people. Because you don't know what they have. And if it turns out to not be a real firearm, you're just going to get in trouble anyway. Because you can't intimidate like that. This whole incident is insane. The guy with the pew-pew had no right to demand identification in the first place, and the victim was under no obligation to prove his veteran status to him. Second, this illustrates exactly why you should never attempt to use it. Yeah, exactly. Never use a replica as a real thing. Ever, ever, ever. Ever. This whole thing is such a cluster. What do you guys think, though? Please comment down in the description or in the comment section below. Please like and share the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.